we're going to start our next. Do you need anything?
No, I'm
okay.
I think I'm set.
All right. Cool. Here we go. How do you pronounce your last name? Kubicek?
Kubicek, whatever you'd like.
Kirk Kubicek, everybody.
Hey. So you can tell I'm a teacher because I have handouts and notes that I've written for myself. But yeah, no quizzes. Screw that. But I did want to start out just kind of getting warmed up. I'm going to present on polyrhythms tonight. I think it was Lynn that said she wanted some like African drummers, Latin American drummers to come in and do something other than drum set. While I did study that kind of stuff in college, I don't think I'm good enough to present on hand drums. But I have been fascinated with the idea of taking polyrhythms and other ideas from other cultures and bringing them to the drum set. And you know, drummers have done it over the years. Just with the beginning of Afro-Cuban music, you know, we like Dizzy Gillespie, guys like that, went down to Cuba, studied Cuban music, brought it back. That's how we got Night in Tunisia and other songs like that. And along with that, they heard all the sounds of Afro-Cuba, which was originally African music brought across through the slave trade to the Caribbean. So, you know, polyrhythms are part of everything that a lot of drummers do. And the you know, 6/8 Afro-Cuban thing in itself is a polyrhythm, if you'd like. However, there's more murky territory to push yourself into that I've found, where there's really a lot of voices going on at once. When I studied in college, I was in an African drumming ensemble that was from West Africa, and it, you know, there's all these different parts happening, and some of them line up, and some of them never line up, and some of them line up every 40 bars. There's one huge one, and everybody goes, "Oh my God!" But so I kind of have been fascinated with how do you bring that to here, because you know, backbeats are where we live as American drummers a lot of the time. So the first thing I'm going to play is something called Abakwa. And Abakwa is actually the name of a secret society in Cuba. Just make sure I'm getting this right. In the south, they came from the southeastern Nigeria and southwestern Cameroon, but this secret society's music came across to Cuba. And actually the term Naningo, which is another Afro-Cuban term, which we hear like kind of a Naningo pattern, that comes from the Abakwa. But the Abakwa, their basic pattern is an idea of 3, which is played over 4. So the idea of 3 is literally just but when you put that against 4, you get some cool ideas. So I'm just going to let it rip and see what happens here. Abakwa, and Abakwa is really, really fun because it's got this ostinato with the feet, which I'm still trying to even out a little bit, make it a little more true to the triplet. When I get excited, it turns it in.
Be a little higher.
Yeah, huh? But that same, you can take the Abakwa idea and put it up here. So, there you go. So there's all these great applications, and the first sheet I handed out is a breakdown of the idea, and then the sheet in there lists a few other variations on that, so you can take it home, play with it. What's up?
Did you write it first and then get it in your hands and feet, or you just kind of got it in your hands and feet and went, okay, this is what that was?
No. This idea, you'll see it's nicely typed up. I didn't type that up. I found that online, and I was just looking for. I found the Abakwa beat first in Frank Malabay's Afro-Cuban book, which is incredible. I've barely scratched the surface. I've gotten through 30 or 40 pages of it, and that keeps me busy going back just over and over with the ideas that are already there. How am I doing on time?
Good, 3 minutes.
Okay, so then I might as well just hand out the other one. This is called Atsia, and it's a 1,000-year-old polyrhythm from the Ewe people. There's a guy named C.K. Ledzepko. He's like the world authority on Ewe music. At least he can explain it to American people because he can speak English, and he can intellectualize it in the terms that we've come up with as in the English language, and with writing it down in notation. But this whole concept takes the clave thing to a whole nother level. And what you'll see is that it's based on kind of that Afro-Cuban So it basically goes through a bunch of variations based on that, and all these things were adapted from instruments that were traditional in the Ewe culture. So we have the Genkoku bells, which are the 2 bells, then a bunch of drums that sound like they're not very well tuned to our ear, but are really, really cool when you start getting them going all together. And it can be kind of chaotic at first, but I also had to do some research to kind of figure out a way to start approaching this whole idea. But I'm just going to go for it since I'm running out of time. So, as you can tell, I'm still working on it. This is kind of mind-blowing stuff, and if you start listening to yourself while you're playing, you can either like go on a total trip where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this, or you just lose it. And while I was sitting there, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get through it, and then I got to that one thing that always gets me, and I was like, ah! So push through it. It's cool. So thank you for listening. And,
Thank you for doing that.